Hey everyone, sorry that this channel has been a little bit dormant for a while. I'll cover that in a different video as to why. I think I just maybe launched this a little bit too soon, but believe me, there will be a lot of stuff coming. I definitely have been wanting to get back to doing stuff on this channel, and I figured this is actually a perfect reason, the fact that as of this recording, we have literally just reached the first goal of the new Hasbro Haslab, which is for the Cantina. Now, this is exciting on so many levels. I mean, obviously, the Cantina scene in the original Star Wars is probably one of the most iconic scenes, in my opinion, ever in any film. And the fact that we now have this very, very highly detailed sort of playset slash diorama thing that is coming is like extraordinary. It's really amazing just all the details that has gone into this, because they were able to go to Lucasfilm and get a hold of some of the old blueprints and sort of recreate this thing. And of course, it's bit of a mishmash because of course the Cantina scene was filmed at like different times. You know, some of it, like I think the majority of it was filmed in the UK, and then they did like pickup shots in California like later. So technically not everything actually matches up. You know, it's just during editing that you kind of like fill in some of these gaps. So as of this recording, it did get past 8,000 backers, so it is definitely going to be made. It's just a matter of whether or not we hit any of the tiers or not. I'm super excited because obviously it comes with the Tonica sisters, which a lot of us have been hoping would get figures at some point. I do kind of wish they were in the main line. But again, I am so happy that at least we will be getting it. And also a new one of Wooher, the bartender, which did get released before, I think in the Power of the Jedi line, I think. But the amount of detail in this new figure is pretty amazing. Even with the chest hair, which I think a couple people have really kind of sort of run off with that kind of thing. I think John Miko, I think, is the one doing the chest hair goal, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Now, whether or not we reach any of the extra stretch goals or not, I don't know. Probably not, unfortunately, the way this one has been kind of chugging along. I'm just happy it's actually going to be made. So the first one was Greedo at 11,000 backers. Which, I mean, maybe we'll get that one. 14,000 backers. We were going to get Nabram Leeds, which I don't know if we'll get that far. The one that kind of hurts, because I was actually really excited for, was at 17,000 backers, where we're going to get Arleel Schaus, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is the sort of Wolfman that is in the Cantina, which is cool on so many levels, not just because I always thought it was kind of cool, especially the way they designed the figure to really match it with his like red eyes, but also the fact that Rick Baker actually made that makeup for Star Wars. He was like one of the makeup assistants who worked on the film. So, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that, which kind of bums me out. Who knows? Maybe. I mean, as of this recording, we haven't gotten to the end yet. Got a couple more days left. But even if none of these stretch goals get reached, I am still super excited to get the Cantina. This is definitely one that for a lot of us that, you know, especially now that we're adults, you know, like, I mean, yes, I realize these are toys, but a lot of us use them for display purposes, you know, for dioramas and things like that. And what more of a perfect, in my opinion, diorama is there than the Cantina, the original Cantina bar? And luckily, thank goodness, for my own sake, I've been spending the last several years trying to track down a lot of the figures that have already been released over the years in different lines for a lot of the characters. Now, not all of them have ever been released, Tonica Sisters, especially before this, but there actually have been a lot more than I originally thought. And I was tracking down like Jabba's Palace figures and Cantina figures, and I slacked a little bit on Cantina figures, and it definitely cost me. I had almost all of them. I think if I'm missing any, maybe two at this point. But I will say I actually spent more, pretty sure I've spent more for one figure for the Cantina than I've ever spent on a figure that I intend to open. You know, it's one thing if you spend a lot of money on a carded figure and you're going to keep it carded, and especially if you're planning to get graded or whatever, like that is kind of different. Like I understand from a collecting standpoint doing that, but when you're buying a figure with the intention of opening it, it's like, you know, how much do you really want to spend on a figure? Well, I definitely hit my I would say goal. It's definitely not a goal, but definitely hit my highest amount that I've ever spent on a single figure, which I'm going to showcase in just a second. Now, I have been lucky because I have been collecting them over the years simply just to put together a very simple kind of layout on a shelf or something. Before this ever got announced. And then there was a leak that happened for the Cantina back in early May that some of you may remember, that it actually got leaked out ahead of time that this was going to be the next Haslab. And of course, by that point, I was definitely, I'm sure me and a lot of other people were like, well, crap, we gotta find all, like, what Cantina figures do I not have yet? And luckily, I lucked out and actually still managed to get a couple of the ones left at still reasonable prices, except for this one, which, yeah. So this was the big one, and that is indeed, pronounce his name correctly, Hershek Calvas, which you can see here is kind of like the same species as Bosk. Now, yes, could this figure still technically get re-released? Yeah, and who knows, it may even get re-released at some point, especially since they still need to do a new Bosk figure, so it makes sense that, you know, they could also do this one, which they have the new sculpt, but I wasn't going to take any chances, so I just went ahead and grabbed this one, which was very expensive. I'll get to that in a second. Let me showcase it real quick. As you can see, hopefully you can see that okay. I'm sorry if there's a glare. This is from the Legacy collection, and they always did such amazing work on the detail. You know, it's the kind of thing where sometimes we can forget how good a lot of these older figures are. You can see right there with the packaging, and also just a quick look at the back. Nice picture of him from the film. Nice picture of the figure itself, and also a quick thing there. Quick description. A couple of the other figures down there at the bottom. And yes, this is part of the Build-A-Droid thing. So I got a nice little chest piece there of, was it R4P44. Usually with some of these, what I'll do is just almost scatter them about in like a Jawa setup, basically. Really happy to get it. I'm kind of upset I spent as much as I did. Now, you're probably asking, well, how much did you spend? Now, granted, I did buy a couple things from the same seller, so he gave me an overall deal on everything, but I can tell you right now, this basically cost me somewhere in the neighborhood of plus minus probably $80, which is nuts. I was kind of hesitant. Part of me was just like, you know what? On the off chance they don't re-release this figure at any point in the TVC line, I at least wanted to make sure I have it. Now, probably open this one last. Like, I'll probably hold off as long as I can just in case they do re-release it. And so maybe I can turn around and sell this, or probably won't get my money back at that point, but who knows. I'll probably open this one last when it comes to a lot of the Cantina figures, but I am so happy that I do have it. And again, at this point, I'm pretty sure I have probably at least like 98% of the figures that have ever been released so far, and all the different lines over the years. But anyway, yes, so this was, again, for purposes of opening, this is the most expensive figure I've ever bought. I want to say it was worth it. Maybe. I don't know if I'm there yet. I think next year when we actually get the Cantina in hand and I start setting everything up, I think by that point I'd be like, yeah, I'm actually really glad I got this figure. Until then, I may question my life's choices for some of this stuff. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm just super excited about the Cantina. I know, I kind of hate to think, it's like, man, I'm going to wait like over a year before we actually get it, unfortunately. But it's going to be a year, you know, counting down, which actually is probably good because I still have so much to do to really get my display room set up. So it actually gives me a year to really get it all ready for, so when that arrives, hopefully I'll be doing videos in that room, and then you know I can do videos on setting it up. And I love how modular it is. You know, it doesn't have to be one big piece that needs to go together. I love that you can, you know, sort of break it up and have it on shelves and things like that. Like, I think that was actually very, very smart of them to do that, which is how I'm going to do it. It's not going to be on some big table or anything. It's going to be spread out on like probably 2 or 3 shelves. So anyway, I'm so sorry for the lack of videos on this channel. Obviously, I've been, you know, even a little loose on videos on my other channel, but I promise not to disappear this time. Actually, a lot of stuff I do want to talk about. So yeah, let me know if you backed the Cantina. Let me know if there's a figure or even a vehicle or anything that, you know, you paid an awful lot for, but at the end of the day, you were kind of happy that you got it anyway. So yeah, until the next video, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.